We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We are deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. I'm Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
And that's not all. We're also on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in the restaurant industry talking about subjects trending in the restaurant business. Tweet your own questions while we're on the air. You know our Twitter handle. It's @SellRestaurants. Post to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WeSellRestaurants. If we don't get to your questions, we will follow up on our social media networks.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas or any comments about the show, feel free to send me an email. My email is Eric, E-R-I-C, @WeSellRestaurants.com.
Oh, we have a very special guest today. She has become one of America's most loved chefs, Chef Antonia Lofaso. She is known for the star power she brought to Top Chef Season 4, and now she is on CNBC's Restaurant Startup with Bastianich and Tim Love. On this show, we are on a quest to discover, develop, and invest in America's next generation of culinary superstars. So Chef Antonia is the culinary consultant to the two restaurant moguls who work against each other to invest in concepts they think will make big profits. You can join the restaurant brokers as we interview Chef Antonia Lofaso. Let's talk about Restaurant Startup. You're in your second season. It gets more interesting every time we tune in. So tell us about your role.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I'm basically Bastianich and Tim Love's consultant. They end up picking one of two groups who have similar concepts, and they're basically given $7,500 in 36 hours to create a pop-up to really show them what they can do. And in that 36 hours, I spend time with them, basically helping them hone their menu, change anything that Joe and Tim really disliked, or help them really, enlighten anything that they really loved, going over branding, going over design, and really making sure that that pop-up is a success so that they're able to get the best done.
Well, you went from Top Chef, where you were actually judged on a daily basis against competitors, and very tough judges were in there as well. And now you are the mentor to similar people that are trying to pressure. So which one do you prefer, Antonia?
Oh, definitely the mentor role. I spent so many years competing, and it's so nerve-wracking. So I definitely have some first-hand knowledge of what a lot of these potential investees go through. It's very grueling. It's very, heart-wrenching to be judged. So I have a lot of empathy for what's going on.
Well, we have watched a few shows, and I tell you, it's pretty interesting to see them pitch their idea. And so you get one impression, and then they get the $7,500 in the 36 hours, and they're put to the test, and some of them wobble a bit. It's pretty intriguing to watch.
Well, it's pretty interesting to see, when they're in front of Joe and Tim, they're so willing to do anything for the investment. And then kind of reality sets in, and they get, kind of put back into their own head and suddenly they're not willing to negotiate. Suddenly they're not willing to change anything. Suddenly they're not willing to be wrong about anything. And I always find that to be the most interesting. It's like this whole experience is always learning. When you're in partnership and you're in business with people, you're like a rubber band. They're always kind of bending and, really making, and compromising and making sure that, that everything works for the team and everything works for the greater good of the concept, not necessarily your ego or what you think is right. And so I always find that aspect interesting.
You bring up a good point, because, even you look at Top Chef, a lot of chefs going there, I want to do it my way. I don't care what a judge says, and obviously a lot of them end up not in the final, obviously. You're seeing the same thing here as consultant. You're giving them advice. You're trying to work with them, Tim and Joe, sorry. Also, are trying to guide these people. At what point in your career as a restaurateur or a chef or something that you realize, hey, I have to surrender something, I have to listen to other people to get success? Because at the end of the day, everybody goes there wanting to make money. I just want to cook food. I don't care about profit. They all want to make money.
Well, there's no other way to it, and I think that's what brings so many interesting things about this show. There's no other cooking show out there right now that is talking about the business aspect of what restaurateurs and chefs do. It's all about the food. It's all about the beauty of the food. It's all about the conceptualization of the food. And people think, just because you've got great food and you've made this one dish beautifully, that you're ready to open a restaurant. Joe likes to use this adage, and I think it's hilarious. It's the, age-old tale of someone saying, I make the best meatballs in the world, I'm going to open up a meatball shop. That's not the way this works. There's a huge business end to it. You have to be able to make money. You have to be able to have proper food costs, proper labor costs, proper costing in design, proper costing in, square footage of how much you pay in rent, what's your location. There's so many things that go into this business other than, can you cook a great dish? And that's what really brings this kind of, show to light. That really separates it from all of the other, per se, cooking shows or food shows out there on the market. But to answer your question, in what part of my career that I really started to see like I have to be, pliable, it really didn't happen until I was in my 30s and opening my second restaurant, where you really start to, especially taking advice from people who have already done this and have already succeeded at it. I wasn't taking advice from, Joe Schmo on the corner. These are gentlemen who are, the biggest, heaviest hitters in our industry, as well as myself, who've opened successful restaurants and, maybe opened not so successful restaurants and been able to share knowledge and been like, this works and this doesn't work, I promise.
Well, we totally agree with you, because as restaurant brokers, we deal with those folks who have a dream every single day, and, they get ready to sell the business or they get ready to go into the business. We're grilling them. What's your food cost? What's your occupancy cost? What are you going to run in labor? Tell us what are the most successful items on your menu and how many covers do you do a day? And I'm blown away by how few people have that business insight. So we totally agree that the business aspect is amazing. And you've got real heavy hitters there with both Joe Bastianich and Tim Love. So what's it like working with those guys? You're a heavy hitter yourself, but it's a little intimidating because they have so much business knowledge.
I have to say, I thought that I was pretty intense, and then just being around them day in and day out, I was like, whoa. I thought I was intense. You guys, blow it out of the water. It's just such an honor being a part of the team. I have to be honest. They are so in tune and so clear so quickly on what it is they want, what it is they don't want. They're able to read through a proposal, read through people in a matter of seconds. Just by hearing them talk about food, taste the food, they can size someone up. So it's really interesting to see on such a, vast, barometer of how just, that knowledge, that those years of experience come into play with both of these gentlemen. And it's a learning experience for me every day. I've been in this business for, 15 years. They've been in it for, their entire, 25, 30 years. It's very different, level of experience that I soak in every day, and that's what I say to a lot of these contestants. Like, everyone is learning every day. People come in here, and just be open to it. Be open to listen to what these, great men who have created really great businesses throughout the United States have to say, because they know what they're doing. Clearly, they're successful. I say this to people. I say this to my 15-year-old daughter all the time. Look into the world and see whose life you think is fantastic, and model what they've done. Because there's a blueprint for it.
Exactly.
Yes.
We watched the Lone Wolf show, and that one just stands out to me. I just wanted to say, man, these guys just offered you the pot at the end of the rainbow. You've got such incredible mentors, and he could have gone with Tim and that adjacency to where he is in Texas. And I just thought, wow, I can't believe he got 2 offers and decided to walk.
That is, that's a clear decision based out of fear. It's a lot of times, and I'm sure you guys have seen this in the restaurant industry, a lot of times people get exactly what they've asked for and then realize that they don't want it, and that it's a situation where it becomes very scary to all of a sudden jump in the deep end of the pool, and maybe realize, like, I'd rather say no to you before you realize I don't really know what it is that I'm doing. You know what I mean? And before you kind of a thing. And it's a scary offer being in front of those 2 guys being like, we're ready to be in business with you, because, it's a lot is demanded of you. And I think it was more of that, saying, like, I don't think he was ready for the demand of what Joe and Tim, are like when you're in business with them, because they demand excellence.
Right. You're in the big leagues then.
You're in the big leagues now. I think it was more him being scared just to be a part of the big league.
I think I agree with you. It's part of it is like they have this little thing here that's a good thing, and they're afraid to let go of that for the bigger one. They want the bigger one without letting go of what they have, and that's a struggle. We've seen many times. We have very successful operators of restaurants that work with us, have 3, 4, 5 successful restaurants, and people's like, oh my God, how did you do this? Well, I failed 27 times prior to these 3.
Exactly.
You've learned from your failure.
Well, you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes, and that failure is a part of life, and it's something that helps you grow. It's the people who get up off the ground, dust off their knees, and keep moving that I have the most respect for. And every time I open one of my venues, it's still not like, yeah, I've got this in the bag, don't worry, this is going to be successful. I'm like throwing up in the morning, crying at night. I don't know if it's going to work, and I'm devastated if it doesn't, or, your whole heart and soul in it, but you have to be willing to take that plunge. And I think that's where he stops.
So you are this respected chef, a television personality. You're a mom, a woman in a male-dominated industry. What advice do you have for other chefs to give them the opportunity to reach that level of success, whether they're male or female? What does it take?
I never really placed too much emphasis on the male-female. I think that it's all about really hard work and determination. I'm a true, I'm a true example of that. I, got out of culinary school when I was 23 years old. My daughter was a year old at the time. There was a lot of thoughts that went through my head, and, of course, a lot of chatter from people in the world saying, it's that much harder for you because you're female, and it's that much harder for you because you have a small child. And, I didn't really let any of that, I didn't give that any kind of conversation. I just really knew that I needed to work for people that I respected, and I worked for Wolfgang Puck for years, and they had amazing mentors in that company who really taught me and set a standard for what I wanted to have my career look like. And every day just work towards that goal as hard as I could. And, it's true. Hard work and determination and going through the process really creates a career for your, it just does. And I think nowadays, and I may be a little guilty of this, obviously, because I've done so many cooking shows where, young people think that they can just come out of culinary school and they can, become that they're just a chef and they, are going to open a restaurant and they're going to be on television and they're going to make a lot of money and they're going to be famous. And that's just not the reality of it. The reality is that this is one of the hardest, most personally rewarding careers that anyone can choose, but you choose the career out of love and passion and respect for the business versus what you think, the kind of rock star chef mentality is these days, because you can't skip the middle. You can't just graduate from culinary school, skip all the hard work, the minimum wage, money in the middle.
The sous chef, the peeling potatoes, all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, minimum wage, head down, yes, chef to anything, dig through the garbage and find this, no problem. Don't question anything for years. I'm not talking about, people are like, well, I've worked for you for a year. I'm like, I worked for Wolfgang Puck for 7 years before I even decided to, move on and go anywhere else, You don't learn anything after 4 months. You don't learn anything after a week. And, that's kind of where I am. And the advice that I give people, be willing to put the work in. Be willing to really, really devote yourself to it and put the work in, because it's worth it at the end. The middle is dirty, and hard. And, your family pays the price for it because you're never home.
Right.
Yep.
But, it's a great example that you can set for, your children, for your family, for the world, really, if you put in the work.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Most people that start really fast usually end up out of business really fast as well. So, but with that said, has the popularity of the food TV, I mean, it's made the industry, there's 24/7 now. You can find a cooking show, a restaurant show. Yeah, guys like Robert Irvine and literally fix a restaurant in 30 minutes on television now. Is this made the industry a little sexier than it actually is? Because there's a lot of unglamorous part of the industry still.
I think it's done. I think definitely exposing what the restaurant industry is. I mean, people have always loved food. People have always loved restaurants. Restaurants are what, I say it brings the experience of, entertainment that isn't like, being in front of a television or listening to music. It's this amazing experience that, you're celebrating a graduation, a wedding, a communion, whatever it is. And it's, people have always been fascinated with it. I think what food shows have done, which has been phenomenal, is really opened up people's eyes to, different cultures in food, exposing them to different food, really opening their mind to what dinner could look like, different ingredients. And I think that's been the most amazing part about what food shows have done, where it really enlightens people's ideas on, what food is and kind of what they grew up thinking it was. And, and then the flip side of that is, it does make it seem a little bit more glamorous than it is because, obviously people are on television. But, I definitely think the great outweighs the, the superficial, what my life could be if I was a chef. because here's the thing, too, which I do find about really good cooking shows is, there were not, not in its entirety, but the really, really good cooking shows out there, and a lot of the chefs that have had really, amazing success on television have the credibility in their restaurants. Some of them. I'm saying that the majority have. If you really look at it, you look at Bobby Flay, some of the most amazing restaurants in New York before he started his television career. Even after his television career, he opened up Gato in New York. It's fantastic. People can't stop talking about it. You look at Mario Batali, very, very, very successful on Food Network. Obviously, the Chew. I mean, you can't touch that man as far as New York Italian cuisine is concerned. So, the people who've had really fantastic success on television that you look up to have that same credibility and, on the television as well.
So did you think going into Top Chef Season 4, and how did that happen, by the way, that it was going to change the direction of your career? Because, America just fell in love with you on that season.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. No, I had no idea what was going to happen, to be honest. I had no idea. I was, 30 years old at the time. They called, I interviewed, I was scared out of my boots at the thought that this was even going to happen. I remember the night before I left, the season 3 right before me was still airing, and they were like forced to cook in an airplane galley, and I remembered being in a fetal position, like on the floor, watching this, thinking, what did I just sign myself up for? I have no, and I had no idea what I was doing, no clue whatsoever.
Wow.
And I just figured, hey, I'm just going to go and do my best, and that's all I can ask for. I still kind of have the same mentality when I'm like, trying to figure stuff out, where I'm like, listen, all I can do is just my best. And it worked out really well. And, I am who I am, and personality-wise, I didn't try to be something that I wasn't. I was like, either people are going to like me or they're not.
Right.
We deal with that on a daily. And, I was just kind of, really truthful and honest and, true to my craft and passionate. And, I guess it worked out well. I say the Top Chef was, one of the hardest things that I've ever done. And then when I did Top Chef All-Stars, that rivaled giving birth. 22 hours of labor rivaled Top Chef All-Stars, for sure.
So very did you have any thoughts about, wow, is this the right thing to do, when somebody came back to you and said, hey, we've got this rolling restaurant startup? I had doubts. My whole thing was I like to do shows that have really, that are credible, that are the people that are on them are credible. So when doing something like Top Chef, I look at that as, Tom Colicchio, James Beard award-winning chef. The whole production of Top Chef is extremely credible in the sense that they really allow the process just to happen in reality. Moving forward to do something like Restaurant Startup, the same exact thing. I had the NBC executives actually ask me, which I thought was a brilliant question at the time of interview. It was like, why do you want to do this? Because I think they were really trying to see, like, we don't want to hire somebody who just wants to be on television. And I appreciated that question. And I said to them, why, of course, why wouldn't I want to work with Joe Bastianich and Tim Love? That to me is, just moving my career further, and not just in a TV sense. And like I said, I learn from them every day, just listening to them talk, and being around great restaurateurs can only sort of add to my knowledge on what it is that I'm doing in my career. And, that's really the decisions that I make. Even with Cutthroat Kitchen on Food Network, it's such an awesome, show that's, obviously much more lighthearted. But Alton Brown is one of the most knowledgeable, food experts on Food Network, and it's an honor to work with him. So it's, I really choose projects that are really about who's involved with them and what they stand for, and they can be as serious as Restaurant Startup or as, as sweet and innocent as like Cutthroat Kitchen.
I know I'm funny you mentioned Alton, because one thing Alton said he's been on our show before in the past, and he says, you have to be brutally honest with yourself if you really want to be successful in this business, whether you're a chef or an operator. And, you look at Tim and Joe, I think, some people say, they may be harsh or hard on people. They're just very honest. They have the passion, but you have to be very realistic and very on point. And does that influence you as well as a restaurant operator when you listen to these guys, and how it's kind of crude, but it's the reality, and you have to be like that if you want to be successful? You agree?
Oh, 100%. I think, being, it's that saying, it's personal, but it's, it's business. It's not personal. But at the same time, this is a business that is so personal because it's coming from an artist standpoint. This is something that the chef is creating. This is an idea. So having it, ripped apart or, said that it's not great is it's very hard not to take it personally, and it's a hard thing to learn how to separate the two. That's what the issue is.
This is Eric and Robin Gagnon, the Restaurant Brokers. We are talking with Chef Antonia Lofaso on the air as we satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this short break.